In a recent video, I commented on the fact that the mega carriers had banked on this pipe dream of autonomous trucks being just around the corner. Well, if you've been following the news lately, you'll realize that the autonomous trucking companies have started to revise the levels of autonomy. And what it means is basically that these trucks aren't going to be ready anytime in the near future at all. Let's have a quick look at that. This video is brought to you by Never Limited Products. The worst part of working outside in the wintertime is wet gloves. Never Limited has sent me a glove dryer here. It sits in the cup holder, dries gloves in a half hour, completely portable, plugs into the power outlet in your truck. I'm actually looking forward to working outside this winter. Level 1 hasn't changed. Level 2 hasn't changed. Level 3 was supposed to be that trucks could drive under their own supervision in regular conditions, and it was only in emergencies that a co-driver or a human, a safety driver, would have to take over. Level 4 was supposed to be no human driver in the cab. That's what the original statement was. Now they've revised it, so level 4 is, well, the truck can manage on its own in some conditions, but we still need a human in the cab. So that's changed right there. Level 4 did not originally have a human in the cab. Now they've got a human in the cab. And they've come up with this level 5, which partway through this, they initially said, well, there's not even going to be a steering wheel in level 5 trucks because there just won't be any driver at all. A driver won't be able to take over. Now they've added this level 5 and revised it to the point that, oh yeah, there's still going to be a steering wheel and there's still going to be a seat, because that truck, level 5, is still going to need a human in the cab. Now this constant revision of levels of autonomy is the autonomous trucking industry trying to get the trucking industry used to the fact that these trucks aren't coming along as quickly as they initially thought they would. Their definition of an autonomous truck is a truck that can think cognitively and act on lessons that it's already learned. That's their definition. That's not mine. But what cognitive thinking is, means that the truck can reason and sort out different situations all on its own. It doesn't need a human to do any of that stuff for it. And we are light years away from that kind of artificial intelligence, basically, is what it is. We're nowhere close to that. We're still at level 3 and working on level 3. And level 4 is going to need a driver, and level 5 now, they're admitting, is going to need a co-driver. So there's how things are changing. And what that indicates to us is that truck drivers in some form are going to be around for many, many years to come, because this development of artificial intelligence isn't even close to being to the point where they can just release a truck on its own and send it down the highway in all conditions. So that's good news for us. That just means that truck drivers are going to be needed for many, many, many years to come. Now they may transition this into changing the title of truck drivers to safety drivers, as they like to call them now. And you know the trucking industry will be banking on saying to the new safety driver community, saying, well, you know, you're not really driving the truck, so we're not going to pay you as well as what we used to pay truck drivers. And that's where we've got to catch them and head them off at the pass. And James P. Hoffa, the current head of the Teamsters Union, he's 80 this year, so he won't see this coming. But his successor should be well aware of the fact that in the years to come, safety drivers are going to become an element in this industry. And if he's on the ball at all, he'll get these guys together and unionize all these safety drivers before they come to be, so it doesn't happen to them that the mega carriers, the huge corporations in trucking, cut the wages and those guys end up working for free or almost for free, kind of like a lot of the mega carrier truck drivers have done in the past 20 years. The good news is that, you know, if you've got a CDL, that license is going to be valuable for many, many, many years to come. Truck drivers aren't going anywhere. They're still going to need us in some shape or form. when I was preparing for this video, I got to thinking that level 1 autonomy includes little things that we now take for granted, like cruise control, for instance. And that came along with electronic engines, of course. But in the early days when I started trucking, before electronic engines, there was no cruise control. Hadn't been invented yet. But we had this thing on a lot of the trucks. Max had them, the Cummins had them, that was like a throttle lock. So what you could do is pull this throttle lock out and just kind of kick back and use that like cruise control. And the motors were fairly weak back then, so you were, interrupting them and shifting all the time. But if you were on the plains, you could pull out this throttle lock and kind of get comfortable anyway. And there's a story about when one of the, and I never did know if that was true or not, but one of the newly licensed drivers at a company out there got used to having this cruise control, and he was from another country, and he thought that the cruise control meant that you could go hop in the bunk. You could turn on the cruise control, pull out the throttle lock, in essence, and go hop in the bunk. And apparently the truck he was in Saskatchewan somewhere, and he just gradually powered himself off through the wheat fields. Didn't hurt himself or anything, but when they investigated as to why he had gone in the weeds in the first place, he didn't understand what the problem had been, because he pulled out the throttle lock, the cruise control was on, he thought it was a good time to take a nap. It's lucky he didn't kill somebody. So remember, keep up the fight and keep the rubber side down. We'll see you on the back home.